Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Elizabeth DeZuch. I'm the Information Literacy Librarian at Texas A&M International University. And today I'm representing the Social Media Subcommittee of the TAMUS Virtual Library Conference. And our chat today is called A Little Taste, and it's a preview part of our Dine and Dish series. My guests today are Prue Morris, the head of Collection Services, and Sarah Timm, the head of Public Services from Texas A&M San Antonio. They presented on staffing post-pandemic in January, and we didn't have a chance to speak to them with our preview questions before their Dine and Dish, so I really appreciate them taking the time to talk to us today and doing this now. So normally we ask our participants what they expect out of their talk and what they presented on. So today we'll ask, what did you talk about in your Dine and Dish? And what did you take away? What did you learn from your Dine and Dish?
Okay, so the first question was, what did you talk about at your Dine and Dish? And towards the end of 2021, as we chatted with librarians throughout the state, we noticed that many conversations touched on the topic of staffing. And although staffing was a common theme, the issues that the librarians reported were numerous. Lost positions due to the pandemic, or budgets or retirements, having to re-justify vacant positions, positions remaining unfilled due to small applicant pools, and so much more.
So we felt like our session seemed like a really timely Texas topic. And so we talked to other system libraries about staffing both during and post-pandemic, even if you could call it post-pandemic, right? Including loss of positions during the pandemic and how libraries have had to adjust to compensate for these losses. And we also discussed issues that libraries were having filling vacant positions in the hopes that collectively we could collaborate and brainstorm short and long-term solutions for this problem.
What were some of your takeaways? What did you learn from this session?
I mean, I think if nothing else, it kind of seems like a lot of libraries are having the same issues. Like a lot of libraries did have vacant positions and were having a hard time filling them. And so if nothing else, there was just sort of some comfort in knowing that other libraries are going through the same things.
Yep. And overall, we walked away contemplating new strategies that other libraries had put into place to overcome their loss of staff and positions. So having other staff pitching in to cover the duties of vacant positions, sharing staff between departments. Some libraries are realigning their departments or their entire libraries. So we're seeing a lot of that structure changing too. And as Sarah mentioned, mostly we just think people enjoyed the reminder that we're all going through this together and we have each other to lean on.
I think too, something else that I forgot to mention, I'm always looking at things from a student worker slant because the bulk of the positions that I supervise are student workers. So we also got to kind of hear from some of the other libraries, what it is that they were doing to combat high turnover in their student worker positions, including, possibly working with HR departments to try to look at wages since the pandemic has drastically increased or altered the wages that companies are now paying. And so sometimes we find that our student worker wages don't really, we can't really compete with things outside the university. So it was nice to hear that some other libraries were looking into this.
That's a good point too. We forget that student workers are sometimes the bulk of our staffing in libraries, and we rely on them a lot for a lot of different things. Our own library was going through some hiring during COVID as well, and it seems like there were some searches that failed from lack of applicants or maybe unqualified or what have you. But each time it was a learning process, and we tried something new and added new things, and we were doing the same thing, looking what others had tried and trying, out of the box different things, especially with COVID, because previously relied heavily on in-person interviews, in-person tours and conversations, and now that everything's virtual, we had to get really experimental and creative.
It's funny that you mentioned the interviews. I think I brought this up during our Dine and Dish. Now it's pretty commonplace for us when we're interviewing our student worker applicants. We just do it virtually. It just seems to work better. And yeah, it's just that's almost become the new normal for us.
Mhm.
That's a good point. So the last question we have for our presenters is about recipes because we do the dine and dish, and this interview is like a little taste. So we're curious if there's any recipes you've discovered or tried during COVID.
Well, I actually haven't done as much cooking as I would normally do during COVID, but I will tell you that if you gather one 4-year-old, one mommy, 2 dogs, a movie named Encanto, and 2 cups of hot cocoa with marshmallows and whipped cream, of course, and you gather them all together on a Friday night, you're bound for a good time.
That sounds so cozy and wholesome. I love it.
With a fire in the fireplace.
Oh, yes.
And for me, I will say full disclosure, my wonderful husband does most of the cooking. You know, he would rather do that than wrangle the kids in their homework in the evenings. So, you know, the recipe that he has recently found that seems to be a big hit, it actually came out of a gluten-free and dairy-free cookbook, but it's for honey garlic chicken. And it's really quite good. It's very reminiscent. I don't know if you all have a P.F. Chang's in your area, but if you like P.F. Chang's sort of Asian cuisine, it's to me, it rivals some of their chicken. It's really good.
That sounds really tasty. We do not have one, but I visited one in San Antonio
Mhm.
about a few months ago. I think we were venturing out, and it was very tasty. I discovered some baking, so I'm not a big baker, but I tried different scone recipes. So during the fall, I was big in pumpkin, so I tried some pumpkin scones. They were pretty delicious. It's baking is a science, I learned for sure. There's definitely a balance to some of the ingredients. Even ovens, for example, I feel like my oven is not hot enough or not long enough because some of the scones turned out kind of soft or undercooked even. So, man, what a learning process baking is.
Mm-hmm. No oven is ever the same as the next one. Yeah.
It's so true. Well, thank you again to Prue and Sarah for taking the time to talk to us today. Our next dine-in dish is with our colleagues from Texas A&M Kingsville, and their talk is called Formal Mentorship: A Call for Action. And you can find more details in your Texas A&M email. So thank you so much, you guys. Take care.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Welcome.